Welcome back into Sports Drive, everybody. We're joined now by our new primetime anchor, Lindsey Stiner. Lindsey, thanks for coming on again. Now, I just want to say, I'm going to do my best, but this is like the last interview of the week for you among like what? This has got to be at least, I know it's at least the fourth.
You're right. It's been a long week. I've done a lot of interviews. That's right.
So I'm going to try my best to make sure I don't ask a lot of the same questions and don't repeat the things that you've already answered a million times already. But we'll start with something that I know we have in common. We have in common that, you know, definitely nobody else can ask about, too much at least, which is the Portland stuff. Of course, we both produced in Portland before, you know, we came here, and, you know, obviously you were here prior to that as well, but we both had time producing up there, so I'm curious, what kind of drew you to go there in the first place?
Yeah, so honestly, I was so excited to find you and talk to you first thing, because here, you can't talk about Maine and Portland because nobody really spends time there, so it was nice to find you and talk about it.
Yeah.
But
we should say probably Portland, Maine. I don't know. Did we say? I think you might have said Maine, because every time I say Portland, people immediately start thinking Oregon. I'm like, Portland, Maine was there first.
That's right. They do. I think they automatically think Oregon. You're right.
Right.
Yeah. So we were hanging out with the lobsters. That's what I always say.
Right.
But I decided, you know, I grew up in Amarillo, born and raised, went to high school here, Randall Raider, went to Amarillo College, and I thought, you know, I want something different. Yeah. And I picked the place that I could get furthest away, and it was Maine. Yeah. So I moved up there, and it was kind of a culture shock for me. Yeah. But you grew up there, so it wasn't really that for you, right?
I grew up right over the border in New Hampshire, so it was pretty much right there. I did like drive to work from, you know, my parents' house when I was producing up there, but yeah, I feel like we have this similar experience, but in the opposite way. You know what I mean? Because for me moving down here, it was the same thing of like, wow, this is a lot different. This is a culture shock. And I feel like you felt the inverse of that. So we have that, you know, shared experience to some extent.
Yeah. So, and it was really neat. For you, you probably are like, wow, they're brick homes, because there's no brick homes up there. Yeah. Like, it's different material of homes. Right. I know that sounds silly, but it was weird for me to get used to. Yeah. Not having Dr. Pepper.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's an interesting one, because I came down here and Dr. Pepper was like the big deal, and I was like, no, like root beer. They're like, nobody down here likes root beer. And I was like, it's all about Dr. Pepper. I'm like, what? Yes. So that's what confused me, but it's interesting that you said that, because someone brought that up to me before.
Yeah, Dr. Pepper, I learned, and living up there, is a very Texas drink to drink. So, right. Yeah.
I guess a little bit, yeah. I never thought, I think we had them up there, but maybe they were harder to find than down here. But I did want to ask you a little bit about, you know, what led you to kind of come back? You know, you go up to Maine. Did you return straight from Portland here? Did you immediately come back? And what kind of drew you back to the area?
Yeah, so I spent 2 years there. And grew tired of the snow, in all honesty. I really did. I was like, okay, this is, you know, it was a definite change for me.
It's a lot. They said there'd be snow here. I don't think we got that much snow they're like, no, we get snow. And I was like, there might have been like a light dusting a few times. In Maine, it's like we get like 3 feet and it's there for 3 months.
Yes, until May.
Yeah.
Like, there's probably still snow on the ground right now.
Yeah, probably. There's a good chance.
Yeah, and you know, people up there also know how to drive in it. Yeah. And people here, you know, we struggle. Right. We struggle driving in it. But yeah, so I got tired of the snow and I came back. I even being up there, I missed the Panhandle people, and I'm sure you have felt that. Yeah. Moving here, people are just so friendly, and it's hard to explain that to people. Yeah.
It was one of the first things I noticed. Yeah. It's just how accommodating people are, how, you know, they talk to you, just like it was a little bit surprising, where I was like, oh, they're just these people that are, you know, willing to help me for really no reason. And I'm like, so that was something that immediately stood out. Yeah. And I think, you know, I talk about the weather there, and people did say, no, we get snow, and then it wasn't like what it is up there, but we're getting our own kind of weather. This must have been such a crazy first week to step in here, and it's like first alert every day. Like, there's so much thunder, lightning. I mean, obviously you've been in Amarillo for a while, so I imagine not much of it was too much of a shock for you. But even still, stepping into, you know, this station for the first week and it being so hectic around here because of the weather going on, it must be like, whoa, this is a little bit overwhelming at first second.
You know what? Growing up in the Texas Panhandle, weather is thrilling. I love severe weather. So
Yeah.
this has been my jam. I love this all week. I
Yeah.
love severe weather. And I think being a news junkie too,
Yeah.
anytime you have stuff that can change spur of the moment,
Right.
and that a little bit of adrenaline,
Yeah.
I love it.
It's crazy for the sports too around the area, just how the weather's affected it, because we haven't had to deal with a lot of that. You know, there's been some snow days here or there, but during this time, it's when it's been the most crazy, having to deal with, okay, this game's delayed, this game's postponed, what are we going to do tonight? And that's been the craziest thing. I do want to ask you real quick, before we get out of here, about getting back into news. Obviously, you stepped out of it for a while, got back into it. What was it that drew you back into that career path? And kind of, I imagine a lot of it had to do with it just being your passion and that being something that you love doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up watching News Channel 10,
Yeah.
Doppler Dave,
Yeah.
Walt, Kerry King. Those were
Right.
the legends.
Yeah.
And so this opportunity came up, and it's always been my passion since I was in junior high school. And I think once you have the bug, it never really goes away. You know, I did do a different career for a while in the medical field. But yeah, that passion has always been with me, and I've missed it. And you know, I love our community, and this is just another platform to be part of the community. So I was really excited.
Lindsey Stiner, catch her on the news starting on Monday, and then from then on out. Lindsey, thanks so much for stopping by. We appreciate it. Best of luck. This should be the last day that's not normal, and then you'll get used to the anchoring schedule.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Lindsey. Well, we appreciate you joining us on Sports Drive. Tune into the news at 6 and 10 for highlights of those playoff games. We'll see you next time.